happy Halloween week. It's Lana here,
And James.
and it's Mystical Monday. So, for our Halloween edition, since Halloween is coming up this week, later this weekend, it is we're going to do some Halloween traditions and origins and how things started.
The roots of Halloween.
There's a lot of interesting stories that go behind some traditions that have kind of evolved over time into what it is now. It's kind of interesting to see the background on it. So we're just going to go through a couple of things. And
if you don't think Halloween's the best holiday, you can still listen to us, but I don't like you.
Same. Gotta love Halloween.
Oh, yeah. So, you want to hear about the ancient roots of Halloween?
Absolutely.
The genesis of Halloween. The genesis of Halloween costumes, specifically. Halloween costumes may date back to over 2,000 years ago. Historians consider that the Celtic pagan festival of, I never can pronounce this word right, Samhain, which marked summer's end and the beginning of the year's darker half in the British Isles. That's where people think the Halloween costume started. It was believed that during the festival, the world of the gods became visible to humans, resulting in supernatural mischief. Some people offered treats and food to the gods, while others wore disguises such as animal skins and heads so that wandering spirits might mistake them for one of their own.
Oh, wow. So they're trying to hide within the ghostly nights.
Yeah.
They're
trying to look like a god.
So crazy. I bet that was terrifying.
Well, all gods have like cow heads and like monkey bodies. And
I don't know why. I don't know. It's like a mythological thing. I think it's with any kind of culture. You've got the mythology. We love to tell tall tales sometimes.
If I saw like a frog with a deer head and he was like as big as me and he was coming at me, the last thing I would think is that's a god.
Yeah. I mean, like, whoa.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
I'm gonna get away from this frog dude over here.
Right.
Yeah, that would be pretty terrifying.
Hiding behind their costumes, villagers would often play pranks on one another, but they blamed the spirits. Masks and cover-ups came to be seen as means to get away with things, and that's continued throughout Halloween's evolution. So, people would hide behind their costumes and they prank each other. Maybe that's where the trick came into play.
Yes.
But I'm going to talk about that later.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, we've got some other strange things that are attached to Halloween.
Like what?
Some things from England.
England.
Yeah.
Everything comes from there.
It's true. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So it's called All Souls Day, and they had little parades and stuff, and it's just really sad. Just kind of shows you that nothing's ever changed, really.
Yeah.
But it's like during the festivities, the poor citizens would sit on the side of the road and they would beg the people for money. And they would throw out little things. And they would give them these things called soul cakes.
Oh, yeah.
And so they'd give them the soul cakes and they'd say, I'll give you this treat if you pray for my loved one that passed away and make sure they cross over. And so that's strange. Can you imagine? I guess, I don't know, that's kind of like what parades are now, except it's not so much like poor, hungry people. It's just that they throw candy and stuff. I mean, that's probably where that came from.
You're right, yeah. It's weird to think that you could trade bread for like a soul.
Right? I mean, how did we decide that was equal,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Totally the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, they also did some stuff where they believed that on Halloween, that ghosts would come back to the house.
Yeah.
And they would, if they left their house, then they would encounter all these ghosts going to and fro.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why they wore costumes to, yet again, blend in with the ghosts. It's the same kind of principle, but different. But it's just funny because it's all around the world with their own little things that they do, but it's kind of similar. So then the next thing that I had was, of course, we got to talk about candy corn.
Candy corn.
I
do like candy corn.
I do not, but I don't like.
Have you ever mixed candy corn with like a salty thing, like candy corn and peanuts together?
No.
It's really good.
No.
It is really good.
I mean, I bet it is good. It probably is. But for some reason, they really gross me out. So I just don't think I could do it. They're just, I don't know, they're gross.
Yeah, I got some candy corn lovers out there. Candy corn.
So did you know that a quarter of all candy that is sold annually in the U.S. is purchased at Halloween?
I believe it.
And the estimated amount of candy, 6 billion pounds.
Pounds?
Yes.
How many candy corns is in a pound?
I have no clue.
I'm going to say about 100.
Sure, why not? Why not? So,
yeah, I mean, if you eat candy corn around Halloween, that's cool. But if someone's eating candy corn all year, like, don't be a weirdo.
Well, that's the thing, is that this candy corn is one of the few candies that, even though it's like mostly thought about at Halloween, it's actually a year-round candy. You can get it at any time. And people used to not only have it at Halloween, but they'd have it at Thanksgiving, and they would also have it at Easter.
I could see Thanksgiving maybe because it's so close to Halloween, but not Easter.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I don't know. I don't know why. I guess maybe carrots. Maybe. I don't know. But, they did this because back whenever they were first creating these types of candy, it's like a mellow cream, and they mold it with the confection, and they make it into like whatever they want. But what they would always do is they would make shapes of different like vegetables.
Yeah.
And it was because it was like a farming town, and like they dealt with that stuff. So they'd make candies that looked like the vegetables. So that's kind of where the whole thing came up for it. And the original inventor is named George Reininger, and he works for a candy company in Philly, but the Jelly Belly company is the one that actually made them popular around the 19th century, and they marketed it as chicken feed.
Chicken feed?
Yes.
Do people actually feed their chickens candy corn?
No, but I guess it kind of, I don't really know why you would call it chicken feed.
Like it was candy, obviously, but they just called it.
But it was called chicken feed, but the people had the same reaction as you just did, which is like, is it actually candy, or is it like, what is it?
They make candy weird now.
It didn't do that well when it first started out.
They make candy look like bad things, and it's supposed to be marketable. Like you remember those candy cigarettes?
Oh yeah, I used to get those all the time when I was a kid.
Used to feel so cool.
Oh yeah, I used to actually try to light them too. And the candy would just melt and get all this gross. Totally would. I'd like hang out. I'd like climb up in this tree that was like really visible from the road, and like people would drive by, and as they drove by, I would just like light up my cigarette candy, to make them think I was smoking a cigarette, because I wanted them to stop and be like, "What are you doing? Leave me alone! I'm smoking my cigarette in the tree, man. I don't have time for you." So yeah, and they all came in the different like collector boxes.
Oh yeah,
they had different kinds.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, they had all different types of boxes, and I used to collect those because I'm one of those people that's like, either I'm into something or I'm not. And if I'm into something, I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
it's
same way.
Super annoying. Yeah. Candy corn is, I don't know. It just sugar and syrup.
Just tastes like the chalk was a candy.
Chalk was a candy?
Yeah.
No, that is those Valentine hearts.
Ugh.
Those are what chalk would be like as a candy.
Yeah.
That's so gross. Those are so nasty.
Gross.
Does anybody like those Valentine things? Or is it like universal that none of us like it? Or there's some people out there that are eating those things?
Valentine's Day, they shouldn't make candy for that.
I hate Valentine's Day, period.
Yeah, Valentine's Day, I don't know. It's nice to be nice to your partner and like get them stuff, but you should be doing it all the time.
Right. That should be a everyday thing, not just one day a week. And why does it have to be? It's just another thing you have to go and like get a big gift or you're an asshole type of thing. Even if you make pre-arrangements where it's like, all right, I'm not going to get you anything, right? We're cool with that. It's like it comes down to it. It's like
Valentine's Day has probably got expanded to some kind of corporate agenda so they could sell more flowers and candy and cards.
For sure. It's always been about money. I mean, what else is it really about? Maybe we'll have to do an episode on that, Valentine's Day, and see the origin of all that, and we'll see how we got here, but for what I can see, face value, it's just candy companies trying to make money.
Flower company.
Flower companies and card companies and whatever.
And flowers are expensive, and then they just die.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of flowers. I would rather get like a flower that was like growable, like it had roots. You could plant it in a bigger planter if you're gonna get flowers, because I hate when they die and they don't last that long. It's so sad that it's like so pretty and so then it just dies.
Unreal.
It's a sad world when we're living in these days.
So earlier I mentioned trick or treat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's said that trick or treat came from the idea that the phrase trick or treat came from the idea that I always thought that whatever, like a kid would go to the door and they would knock or whatever, and that person would bring out the candy, and they say trick or treat. It's the person who's handing out the candy's job to either give them a treat or trick them.
Right.
So like that's the way I've always thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually the opposite. It's trick or treat. Like, hey, give me a treat or I'm going to trick you. Trick or treat. Like you're asking them.
So we've got it backwards all these years.
So like the idea is they have to give you candy, or the person asking for the candy, if they don't get any, they're going to play some kind of trick or prank on the homeowner.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've always thought about it the other way.
Yeah, me too. I would definitely think that that's what that was. Wow. We should do everything backwards, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to go over this next part here that is the origin of jack-o'-lanterns.
Jack-o'-lanterns. Okay.
Yeah. So it all started with this guy named Stingy Jack. And it's this myth.
Of course it did.
Yeah. It's a myth about a man nicknamed Stingy Jack. And he invited the devil to have a drink with him, and then once he had the drinks, the Stingy Jack dude didn't want to pay. So he convinced the devil to turn into a coin so he could use it to buy their drinks. And then once the devil did so, Jack decided to keep the money and put it in his pocket next to a silver cross, which prevented the devil from coming back to its original form.
Imagine being so gangster that you meet up with the devil and you make him pay for your drinks.
Right? You meet up with the devil and you make him turn into a coin. And then
he turns into a coin?
The devil turns into a coin.
Oh, I thought you said.
And then Stingy Jack decides that he's just going to keep the coin. So not only did he get a free drink, but he also stole money on top of it. So he got paid to drink with him.
What does that have to do with jack-o'-lanterns? There's nowhere in that story you talked about a pumpkin.
All right. So, this is so messed up. So, the devil puts a light inside of a turnip. And the guy has to light his way. And that's like the jack-o'-lantern.
So to like find the devil to steal his money and drink with him, he had to put a light in a turnip.
Yes.
And light his way.
Exactly.
A turnip?
A turnip. And if you ever look at these things, they're terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
They're like all shriveled up and like...
Yeah, I've seen people make jack-o'-lanterns out of turnips. It's fucking
They're
weird.
pretty scary. So, yeah, that's...
So I wonder how it came to be a pumpkin.
It became a pumpkin because when they brought it over from England and everywhere over to America, then pumpkins were the local seasonal item. So that's what they used.
Isn't it so weird how everybody in the world does these traditional things and they never really question where they came from?
Yeah, you just follow it.
It could be just something really, really fucked up that you would never support or whatever. It's like, imagine telling your kids nowadays, it's like, you're lighting the jack-o'-lantern, carving the jack-o'-lantern with your kid, because that's something that people do.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, Dad, why do we carve pumpkins with faces on them? What do we do this for? I'm like, oh, it's to symbolize Jack that used to carry lit up turnips and then go meet the devil.
Right. It's very strange.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine it all think about it. Like, people are so bored. There's nothing. I mean, they didn't have TV or radio or anything.
Yeah.
They just worked and slept and died. That's pretty much it. So these people would sit around the fire and make up some crazy stories, I'm sure, just to scare people.
Yeah.
Or, take, one true piece of information and like blow it out of proportion where it's like, yeah, that happened, but it wasn't that dramatic. And now there's not some headless horseman riding around the fields,
Yeah.
It gets very dramatic. But people tend to have that. They always do that. They always have everything overly dramatic. And that comes, when we like do investigations and stuff, and then we like figure out certain things.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, I was watching Ghost Adventures, the Crescent Hotel one, and they said that there was a hallway that sounded like gurneys going down and up and down it, and then they just found that it was a pipe with a radiator system.
Oh,
they were like standing right underneath it, and they were like pointing up at it, and it was like, it did sound just like it. So they debunked that one, but you see they're still touting it, because, it's a story.
I'm going to find out for myself.
Yeah, we will.
We will.
Always.
I don't know why we always go to that voice. Like, that's our go-to voice.
Oh, yeah.
Where did that start at? White Goodman?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Suck it, LaFleur.
Suck it, LaFleur.
What a great movie.
It's such a good movie. Some movies are just great for quoting.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, what else do you have?
Oh, so modern day Halloween, like how it became a thing, like traditionally. Christianity actually adopted October 31st as a holiday in the 11th century as part of efforts to reframe pagan celebrations and claim them as their own.
Of course.
Indeed, the name Halloween derives from All Hallows Eve,
Mm-hmm.
And it's the day before All Saints' Day, which is November 1st. So that's why they picked that day.
What is the correlation with that?
Correlation with what?
All Hallows Eve and All Saints Day.
I'm not sure, but that's why they call it Halloween. All Hallows Eve. I mean, All Hallows Eve is the day before Saints' Day. Maybe Hallows has something to do with saints.
Interesting. There are quite a few stories on all of this Halloween stuff. It's just so crazy, like you said. I mean, you have stuff like black cats, and like how did the black cat get to where it was at? Did you find anything on that?
Mm-hmm.
I looked up some stuff on like black cats and why they think they're evil, and it's just like it doesn't make any sense. I don't really know why they picked.
Crosses your path when you cross over it.
Right.
Bad luck or some shit.
Yeah.
I think black cats. I imagine black cats probably had something to do with witches.
Yeah, witches, and maybe just because like you can't see them as well. But I know that during the Middle Ages, they used to they associated the cats with witches, like you said. Like they thought that the witches turned into the cats. Right. So that would make sense, and then probably just changed it to black cats because they're just, like I said, you can't see them. They just look like little eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
once Halloween entered American culture, its popularity quickly spread, according to fashion historian and director of New York University's costume studies. People in rural America embraced its pagan roots and the idea of it as a dark occasion centered around death. They wore scary, frightening get-ups, which were made from stuff at home, whatever was on hand, like sheets, makeup, improvised masks.
Mm-hmm.
So Halloween, like, at least when it first came to America, was more about death and being scary. And it's still about that, but it's like that now in like a childish way. Like, it's still about being scary and stuff. Like, you got the skeletons and the witches and the monsters and stuff, but like kids dress up as superheroes now. It's like transition to be just Halloween's where you can just dress up as anyone.
Yeah.
instead of being like a scary thing, it's more like a let's be somebody else for a night and get candy thing.
Yeah. And that's nice, just to escape it for a moment.
These dumbass Halloween costumes too, like hot dog.
Did you dress up like a hot dog?
No.
That would be really funny if you did.
What's the dumbest Halloween costume you've ever had?
I'm ready. Okay. Picture it. I'm probably about, 9 years old. And my mom dressed me up like a present. So she took a huge box and she cut out arms, legs, and head. And then she wrapped it like a present. And then I had like a bow on my head. And it was way too big. And I could barely walk in it because I couldn't really bend my knees very well because it was too big. It was like it would go inside the hole and then kind of like trip me up.
Yeah.
So I'm standing on I think it was my great grandma's porch. And I was standing up there with all the kids, and the porch had no railings, like those old country houses. They don't have a railing at all. So I was like just standing up there waiting, and like one of the kids like pushed past me, and I fell off the side of the porch on my back, and I was stuck because I was in a box. And I was like, I am stuck in the bushes, and I'm like behind bushes, so you can't even see me. It's just like I just vanished in like a bunch of vegetation. And then finally my mom like came over there and she was like, "Oh my God, I didn't know where you went. So sorry." And then laughed. It was probably pretty funny though.
Honestly, really didn't dress up for Halloween that much when I was a kid that I can remember. I remember just like going to the store and just getting those like, Walmart Power Ranger costume.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Walmart.
Yeah.
It was as expensive as you're getting.
I think one time I dressed up like a superhero and I did like, I cut holes in like a bandana and I put it on as like a little mask.
Yeah.
Or like a blanket as a cape or something.
Uh-huh.
I did that one time.
Yeah, I sent you that picture of me that I did when I made my own ninja suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Weren't you a JT Dick in the Box one time?
I was. And funny you should say that. I just had a memory pop up on my Facebook where I am dressed up like JT Dick in a Box, and I'm telling you guys, if you haven't seen this picture, I mean, it's worth it. Just let me know if you want to see it, and I'll send it to select few.
Maybe maybe we'll post it on our Facebook page.
Yeah. Hey,
yeah, definitely.
If we get how many likes, then I'll post it.
How many likes on the video?
Yeah.
I'm gonna aim low.
Okay.
25.
All right. 25 likes on our podcast. And I will show the picture of me dressed up as JT, Justin Timberlake, Dick in a Box from SNL. It is legit. For real. That was a good night.
Yeah.
Totally.
Probably my coolest ever Halloween costume I dressed up as Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
And like I went around to thrift stores and found all the clothes I needed, like the purple jacket and the gloves and the green button up and the tie and everything.
Nice.
And the whole costume, including the makeup, probably cost me seriously $10.
Whoa. But, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was really good. Really good costume. And I had really long hair then. And so nice. I dyed it green. And I used my own hair. It's freaking cool.
Sweet. Did you go to like a party or something?
We went to the Rev Room for their Halloween party.
Neat. Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm trying to think of the things that I was. That one just really. I remember I was a mummy one year. And it was like really, really hot that year. And I was dying.
Yeah.
Wrapped in all that gauze. Oh, yeah, that was hot. And then, I was into Power Rangers when I was way older than I should have been.
Mm-hmm.
I
still have
so like, I mean, I do too, but now it's like it's acceptable. Like you could be a nerd and like that kind of stuff now. But then it was like, oh my God, you still like Power Rangers, and like I'd go and like get the biggest size that they had,
mm-hmm.
And it would still be too small, but I would just try to make it work anyways. So I got like the movie spandex outfit, you know, with the little stupid face mask.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was way too small for me, but I wore it. I look like an idiot, especially since I like tried to wear it around outside just to play in, to pretend.
I was always too short for the costumes you bought at the store, so like the legs were always way too long.
Yeah. Sucks being short.
Yeah. So we were talking about costumes coming into, you know, being more like funny or superhero-ish, and it's this is the decades from 1920, 1930 and forward. The same decades saw the emergence of costumes that were influenced by pop culture, alongside the first major costume manufacturing company, the J. Halpern Company, better known as Halco. From Pittsburgh. They began licensing images of fictional characters like Popeye, Olive Oyl, Little Orphan Annie, and Mickey Mouse around this time. And people became fascinated with characters. You should say like pirates and gypsies and even, you know, stuff like that. People would start dressing up like them.
So that's where it kind of started.
Yeah.
It's like Popeye, and that's pretty cool.
Man, I watched Popeye when I was a kid.
Popeye was pretty cool. Yeah. He made like the spinach actually look like it might be good. You know? Yeah. It's not though.
You don't like spinach?
I like spinach, but not like out of a can, just eating it.
Dude, I don't know, man. We buy these ones in a can. It's collard greens, but
that's not.
They're like seasoned collard greens. We do seasoned spinach too. And it's in a can. It's freaking good.
Yeah, I don't know. Spinach not as good as it looks on the cartoons. Also, another thing, pizza not looking as good as it did on Ninja Turtles.
Oh no!
I mean,
they always make pizza like way better in cartoons. Like
yeah, it's like all cheesy and just like I don't know, something about it, you just want to eat it. It's just like wow, so unfortunate.
Yeah,
really set us up for failure. On that note, happy Halloween to everyone listening out there, and stay tuned to our Facebook page. We are going to have some really cool footage from our investigation at the old State House being released on Halloween. So be on the lookout for that.
All right, guys. Let us know like what you dressed up for as Halloween. You know,
what's your favorite Halloween costume that you ever had?
Yeah, let us know.
And pictures too, if you have them.
Remember, we had 25 likes.
25 likes. I'm showing that picture of me dressed as JT. Taking a box. We'll catch you next time. Have a nice week and happy Halloween. Whoa.